Howdy everybody in YouTube land. What we have in front of us today is an iMac G3 slot loader, Grape edition. Now, this machine works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, when I put it away in 2016, I've not tried it since. Who knows about now? But in 2016, there was nothing wrong with it. Drive worked, everything worked. Now, apparently these drives have belt problems now and stuff like that, but that's beside the point. The reason why I pulled this out is I need to test something. So if you look very closely, and if the camera's not going to white balance it out, you see how it looks very yellow? Well, that's what happens to that inner subframe. Now, this inner subframe is not supposed to be yellow. It's supposed to be a very light gray. I know because I had one of these when I was younger and I tore it apart because there was a problem with the analog board freaking out and I could not get down to the bottom of it, so I got rid of it. But this was in like 2005, 2006 time period. But I had one of these and I was using it completely taken apart, and this was a very, very, very light gray. And it was not this shade of yellow. So what happens is this plastic, whatever they made that inner frame out of, degrades and starts getting extremely brittle with time and eventually crumbles and falls apart. Now, it makes these machines extremely hard to collect on top of the eventual flyback failures and stuff like that. But however, I just got a care package from Mark at MacEffects. So he sent me a prototype frame. It's shot in black. It's meant for test fitment only, but he wants me to figure out if there's any fitment issues or anything like that with this particular machine. So we're going to tear this thing completely apart, and we're going to install the new frame in here, and we're going to check to make sure everything looks good. But step one is we need to get the bezels and everything off so we can get it down to the raw frame to see and make a documentation of what it all looks like. I just now turned it on its side and I'm hearing little pieces of stuff rattling around inside here. So I have a feeling this plastic inner frame is already crumbling. So, alright, to get this thing apart, first thing we need to do is take these two screws out, which we have there. And in theory, this thing should snap apart. Now, I'm pretty sure I have to actually get this cover off too. There's nothing under here but the RAM, just to show you. This gives you access to the RAM expansion and even Wi-Fi, which this machine doesn't have. But in order to get the rest of it off, we got to get this cover off so we can get to the screws under there, and this whole thing should come off, which will reveal all the screws around the parameter to get this off. Then we can get this off, and then we're left with just the frame. Once this cover's off, there's two more screws in here. We release those screws, and the bottom carriage assembly comes off just like that, revealing the shield. Now, I just heard some pieces fall off of this thing, which scares me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Uh-huh. That is not good. Yeah. So this thing, I guarantee you. Oh. Look at that. That is bad. Now, wow. I guarantee you, if I flex this, it's just gonna... No? Wow, that's bad. How's the foam on these speakers? Oh, they're shot. Oh, yeah, they're shot. I gotta get speakers for this thing, too. So this thing's gonna be a little more involved than just... Yeah. Wow. Completely screwed. But, you know, that's just how it goes with these machines. They just don't hold up to time. But that's okay. We have a solution, and that's the MacEffects replacement bezel, because every single one of these slot load machines has this problem. So, all right, we're going to keep digging down further. Anyways, after shattertastic plastic aside, we have multiple screws that we have to remove. This one, that one, that one, and that one. We got to remove all those, and then while I'm in here, I might as well take everything else out, because I bet the original PRAM battery is still in here, and that is going to be a problem too. So, lots of stuff to take apart. Lots of stuff to take apart. Time to defuse this situation. I guess my next question is this original? If I were to hazard a guess, I'm gonna say yes, it likely is original. There we go. Well, let's see. What do we have here? 2000. Yeah, it's original. So we're gonna gladly dispose of you. In order to get the rear bucket off, we've got all the screws around the perimeter and everything loose and removed. Now we got to get the face off to reveal the rest of the screws and unhook this all and remove it. In order to do that, I need to pull these little clippedly doodly doos out. That's the part I'm not super clear on how to do. So I got to figure that out. Yeah. But you can see the color shading difference. This is what the color used to look like. So it's just the type of plastic that this is made out of. It's very interesting to me. Got the bottom clips pulled out, and how I did that was I grabbed a pick tool and just tried to hook in the corner a little bit here and just pop it off. So I got both of those off, got the screws out. So in theory, this thing should just lift out somehow. I think it might be snap clipped into the bezel, but one of those things I need both hands for. Now that the front cover is off, we can release everything. The clips are just kind of sitting in there, not a big deal, but you can look how bad the friggin' cracks are. The plastic is just gone. It is gone, gone, gone. So the next thing we got to do is remove 2 more pain in the ass clips to get out of there, to expose these screws so we can slide the bucket down and off. Because the thing is, this machine was designed to be put together and never taken apart again. Oh man, but yeah, this stuff is really brittle. So, and you can just see the difference of what the original color used to be and what it is now. So, yeah, that stuff's really pliable. It's not breaking, but all the rest of this, yeah, shattertastic. All right, now with the rear bucket finally off of it, crap. Let's see how brittle this thing actually is. Yeah. That's terrible. Munch, 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 munch. Munch, munch. Yeah, that's garbage. Shattertastic plastic. At this point, I'm just taking out every screw that I can see, because this whole subframe has to come out regardless. But I just got the speakers out, and wow, that was hard. It took some serious force. So you got to get a screwdriver in here, because there's a little hole there, and what's in that hole is this little clip right here. It just kind of slides in. Well, anyways, so that clip has to get pushed up so you can slide it out. Wow, that was hard. But yeah, it's shot. So fortunately, there's replacement speakers. Mauser has a set of these for like $8 a piece, but you have to remove the magnetic shielding off the original driver and move it over to the new one, which is fun, but yeah. Wow, that was a royal pain in the rear here, dear. I got it out. But in order to get these two screws out here and here, you have to move the degaussing coil out of the way because it literally sits right there. Not a fun experience, but it is doable. So anyways, I've not taken one of these apart since 2005. That's why I was freaking out. So I could not remember how it came apart. Anyways, it is now apart. So I'll probably redo something with that board. I don't know yet. But that's not my concern at the moment. My concern right now is to get everything separated from this inner plastic frame because it's screwed. So, wow, I wonder what that was about. Weird. And it looks like to cover up the part number to the LG CRT. Anyways, the yoke itself, it's gotten so hot that all of the epoxy is cracking. So that's not good. And then the correction magnets has that hygroscopic glue in there. All this stuff, which is cracking and corroding because of just heat exposure. This plastic is just as yellowed, so I'm afraid that one's also equally as bad. But that, again, we just need to get everything out of this inner frame. You want to hear how brittle this thing is? Yeah. Look at that. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, yeah, that is bad. Yeah, this thing's gone. This frame is toast. Alright, the picture tube has been freed, which leaves only the remnants of this, which is really bad. Because, yeah, I've never seen anything this brittle besides that Toshiba laptop I worked on a while back. I can literally just take this and I don't even have to put any pressure in it. I can just take my little thumb and just barely flex it and it just pops right off. This whole thing is just gone. The standoffs aren't coming as easily, but this is bad. I've never seen. I'm at a loss for words how bad this thing actually is. No amount of glue you could ever use would ever do anything for this at all. Nothing. You can put all the epoxy you want in the world on this thing, or all the glue, or whatever. It's junk. This thing is just literal trash. Yeah. This stuff is it's just absolutely the worst. All I did was just flex it. Just like twerked it a little bit and it blew apart into all of this mess. Oh my lord, it's so bad. Yeah, this is scrap. Scrap. Fantastic plastic. Out with the old and in with the new. So wrapped up in this foam is a brand new recreation of that inner plastic frame. Now this one is done in black. It's not done in the proper color because this is a prototype run sent to me for test fitment to make sure that everything is going to fit perfectly fine. Now once We make adjustments. If there needs to be any more adjustments, then we'll have a final run, and I will get that as well. Because there's a lot of Kickstarters that are waiting for their product. So it's up to me to make sure that this works properly. All right. Upon first inspection, I'm not really seeing any issues. There's no Apple part number down here because, of course not. It's not an Apple product. It's a recreation. But I gotta hand it to them. It looks basically factory. I don't know any specificities yet until I try to get it all mounted. But I tell you what, the quality of this thing, the detail of this is actually quite amazing. You got the mold line here. It all looks really, really good. Now, you can kind of see where the plastic oozed in this direction just by the weird fan out, from where they hydraulically press the plastic into the mold. But other than that, this thing is actually really good quality. I like it. So this is what we're going to test fit and install it. And then, like I said, this is done in black, of course. There will not be any more done in black as far as I know. These are just prototype runs. So, anyways, we'll get this installed for test fitment purposes and see what it looks like. I kind of like the black look. It gives us this dark contrast, which, I don't know, it makes it look cool, including the black purple logo. I don't know, it's weird. I kind of like that look. This could be me, but the curvature looks like it's ever so slightly off. Like you can see it a little higher here, a little higher here, but kind of dipped in the middle there. It may not matter, but I can see a difference between here and here versus here. But I'm not sure. Only way to tell is to put it all together. Alright, so the goal is to test fit all of the parts and put this thing together to make sure everything fits properly with no weird issues. This is not about restoring this machine because I got to circle back around to this thing because I have to order new speakers for this, and I've got the optical drive I have to take apart and service that and all of that other stuff. I can't do that right now. The biggest thing I wanted to get out of the way because I'm on a time constraint is this frame to make sure it all fits and works perfect. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start putting this thing back together physically and make sure everything fits. Now, unfortunately, this button broke, so I can't put that back in there. I might be able to 3D print something for that, though. But that's not a big deal. So yeah, let's get this thing back together and make sure everything fits perfectly fine because that's what's important right now. Alright, well, with the initial fitment, it's super close. I mean, it's a little bit different here. I can't tell I don't remember if that was the way it was before or not because the stuff was crumbling, but it's equal on both sides. However, this side appears to be fitting exactly perfect, almost, with a little bit of a gap there. But this side has got a bulge coming out. The angle is about the same as the other, but there's a bit of a bulge here, which is strange to me. The plastic frame is setting in without any clearance issues, so that's good at least. So it seems to be pretty flush on there. I don't have any problems with the screw holes or anything. That's all good. I just can't remember if this is supposed to be this way or not, because that angle is slightly different. But that might be normal. The clips were able to slide in there on both sides without any obstructions, at least. This seems a little odd to me. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't think that's right. I could be off on this. I might have to pull it back off and get that seated in there properly. I'm not sure. But I did notice this. There's a big gap here and a big gap here. So we have that going on. Well, yeah, something's definitely off because I have this huge gap here and here. But I could not get these screws to go in without forcing this guy down. And still the clips are not quite latching all the way up either. I mean, I can kind of get them to go all the way up, but not without this flap being on the outside. So something here is not, I don't know if it's the arch, maybe it's just a little too tall, but something here is not right. Something here is not right. It's holding the whole thing up. The clips themselves on this side and this side work. I can get them to line in and get the bucket screwed on, but then this flap is sitting way out here, and I can't. There's something with this. If I take the screws out, this thing is sitting on the outside, and it's not supposed to do that. So this is at the wrong angle. Maybe it's slightly too tall, and it doesn't fill all the way out over here or here, which I can't remember if the original one did that anyways. So let me look and see. Because no, maybe not. It's hard to go by this because of the angle. But something's not right. I'm not sure what. I can't put my finger on it. Something's... I don't know. It's weird. See, the part that's not making any sense to me is the front cover fit on perfect. But the bucket just won't. It just, no matter how hard I try, I can't get this bucket on right. So I tightened the screws in the front on the back here to pull the bucket up, to force the clips to go up. And then I'm screwing these two down, but you can see here it's just bowed out. I have to really give this thing force to push it in there, but it's not quite right. So I think, and you can kind of see what's going on here too. It's like sticking out. So I think the angle on this is wrong still. What I ended up doing was pushing this down as far as I can. It's really severely bumped up against this plastic. It doesn't really want to go down. But I got it down as far as I could, and we are so close. So close, but we're not going to make it. Because the angle here is slightly off. I have to curl it down. And these look good, but the angles here, I have to curl it down. But the problem is, if I try to get these clips in here, it won't without severely mangling. I don't know how to get that in there. But we are so close. Not quite there yet, but we're close. And trying to force it in there, just trying to clip it in, all I did was just snap the clips. They're not right. So this thing, this little flapper is still too tall. It needs to curl in just a little bit more. I think that's what it is. It needs to be a tiny bit more shallow, and it needs to curl in a little more because it's out too far this way. That's what I think's going on here. We're out too far this way, and we're just a wee bit too tall. Oh yeah, there's definitely an issue. So the clip's broke trying to get it in. It won't go all the way in. I kind of got it in, but it won't go down now because it's so warped. It's like it's too tall. Something's weird. It won't go down, so now the clips don't line up. So I can't actually snap this thing in because we're sitting way too high. I don't know why we're sitting too high, but we're sitting way too high. I tried to force it in, pushing it down and forcing it in, and it's not wanting to clip. It's stopping. It's like the I don't know how to explain it. It's like the bucket won't come all the way up, or these two won't close together, but also there's this weird gap at the top. And it's even more pronounced on this side. I can't actually get these clips down and in. It's almost like this thing is it's too tall. Like the frame has to be reduced in height just a tiny bit. I'm not sure. Maybe looking at the picture, you can kind of see what's going on, but it's not. It's not really. It's not wanting to go together. I pushed it down as hard as I can, pulled this up as hard as I can. I forced it in there. It's it's in there now, but you can tell that gap is not normal. I don't think. So either the black plastic is not able to center itself properly on this, because if I go on this side, it's not nearly as pronounced, but it's definitely there. So I think during the making of this piece that the it got warped or stretched a little bit, and it's not really wanting to go in there. I don't know. I can't. For example, this is supposed to cover that black. It's supposed to go all the way back, and it's not. And that's true all the way around here. So yeah, it needs some tweaking, but I'm not quite sure what exactly. Now that I have it fully reassembled, I can kind of see what's going on. So everything's all snapped together. The bottom, this one's poking out just a tiny bit. This one's all flush on this side, but we got some pokage here. But ultimately, what I can see is this plaque, this flapper thing on the frame. I don't know what you call this little wing, but it's too wide. It needs to be shrunk down a little bit because there's too much. It's supposed to be fully covered. So it's like it's too tall this way, and the frame itself is just ever slightly too tall this way, because you can see it sticking up here, and also not as much, but it is sticking up on the other side as well. And there's, that little gap up here that's supposed to be covered. So I think if this was narrowed down a tiny bit, and then the whole bezel itself needs to be shrunk down probably a couple millimeters. I don't know if maybe when they ran the mold for this one, they put too much pressure on it, so it squeezed more material out than there should be. But something happened there, and that's where the issue is, as far as I can tell. But clips and all that stuff on this side seem to be okay. Well, the good news is the machine runs fine, so we don't have any electrical gremlins going on with it. I mean, I'm sure it could use some caps and a little restoration work, but other than that, the machine is running. But this video was more about, can we actually get the new replacement frame to fit in there? So to answer that question ultimately is yes, we can. Mostly. There's some caveats. Like I said earlier, we have a problem with alignment here. We got it all in there. Everything is lined up, although this side sticks out a little further than this side over here. And like I said, we've got some pokage from here, where it can't sit all the way down, which is causing this to be pulled back. So that's a problem. So a little more tweaks are needed to get that figured out. I talked to him. He said that wasn't a problem before, so maybe it was the particular run with the mold. I don't know. But regardless, that is an issue, and that needs taken care of with this run anyways. Other than that, it's all in there as far as I can tell. So it's not doing bad. I left the speakers out because they need to be replaced. There's no point in even putting those back in there. So we'll take care of that later in a different video, a restoration video. Other than that, that's it for this one. Nothing too crazy with that. There was something I wanted to say. Oh, that's right. It's going to be hard to see on camera, but the CRT is kind of cattywampus a little bit. Like, it's closer here, than it is there. So I didn't get the CRT in there quite straight. And that might be why we're having the other weird issues too. I doubt it, but you never know. Or maybe the molding is slightly different, so the CRT is shifted a little. But you can definitely tell the CRT is shifted a tiny bit. Not enough to matter with the geometry, but anyway, so that's it for this one. We'll come back to this in a restoration video later on when I need to get the caps and all that other stuff in there. Maybe get some kind of fan cooling solution, because this is quite significant amount of heat. And I don't like that. That's probably why these go so brittle, is just they're heat baked. But anyways, that's all I got for this one. I might add on to this if we get another prototype run of that or not. Not sure yet. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching. This thing is actually running Unreal Tournament halfway decently. I'm impressed. Wow.